We might all be rich, who knows? The market spooked, the numbers jump, but jump done got me looped. I buy that dip, who knows? I die tomorrow. I'll be rich, who knows? By tomorrow, we might all be rich, We could all be rich,
Out of cold, my wallet's full. This data's flowing and breaking through. Warming up while climbing to the top, man. Read the room the way it's climbing on my watch. I clock these numbers like they stock. I'm taking left right after loss on why they nap. I'm chopping blockchains.
All right, what's up, guys? How's everybody doing today? So we got some nice dumpage today in the crypto markets, man. Hope everybody's doing okay, guys. It's been a while since we did a live stream, so nice to see you guys back. Let's make sure everything's up and running real quick, and then we'll get going. Guys, real quick, make sure you smash the likes buttons. Make sure you guys drop some comments below. Let me know how you guys are feeling. It's been a pretty crazy day today, so I guess I got some information that that the Senate came to a conclusion that we're not going to have a government shutdown. So that's good, man. So I guess, we got to get some good news where we can get it at. Miles, what's up, brother? Doing good, man. How about you? I'm hanging in there, man. It's been pretty crazy few weeks for me, man. But, just got to stay hopeful, man. At the end of the day, it's like, we can be like everybody else on the internet and just cry and complain and, or we can show up and do what we got to do and stay focused with a game plan for the long term. So, look, man, it is what it is. But, it's nice to always see you in the chats, man. You're really one of the few, man, that have been kind of just sticking with it, man. I know it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you're in an abusive relationship and your partner's beating you up, and they say they're never going to do it again, and they keep doing it, and it's like, we're getting tired of it. But look, guys, there is going to be a point to where all this stuff is going to stop. And there's going to be good times ahead. Now, that's really going to depend on if you guys are going to be there, or you guys are going to say, hey, you know what, I'm done for right now. And it's totally up to you guys. Like I said, I've been trying to keep up with you guys with wellness checks and stuff like that. A lot of people like to poke fun and stuff like that, man. But there's a lot of people out there, man, that are they're going through it, man. A lot of people are down crazy amounts of money. I've seen some people that are down just massive amounts of money. And, look, man, at the end of the day, it's like, it's just unfortunate. And, I sent some messages out in the Discord, and I gave some people some information where, hey, look, you got to do some self-checks with yourself. Like, if you find that you're over-allocated, if you find that, this is kind of really bothering you with your mental health and stuff like that, and, it was hopefully people made those adjustments yesterday before all this, but there's going to be a time where you're going to have to make a decision. Everybody on YouTube has their price predictions coming out. We got 15K, 20K, 30K, 50K. Everybody has their own price targets, guys. And at the end of the day, look, man, a lot of people are going to be wrong about this. I've been wrong about a few things, and a few things I've been right about. But at the end of the day, look, the ones that will prevail are the ones that can hold through the volatility and, and finish this out. So, look, the title of the video is going to be, altcoin crash, alts to zero. But we all know that, that's not entirely true. There's going to be some altcoins, of course, that are going to probably, unfortunately go to zero. But there's going to be, a good majority of these that hopefully will recover. And the ones that will recover are the ones that are continuing to build, the ones that have, assets and treasuries and continually trying to grow through this adversity. Now, we have a lot of stuff that's happening, through the back end, with this crypto legislation. We got Congress and Coinbase, and we got the Republicans and the Democrats. They're all fighting this stuff out. We're hearing so much different information that the Democrats did not support any part of the legislation. And then we're starting to hear a bunch of, Republicans that are putting fastballs. They're actually siding with the banks on some of this stuff. So it's very hard to get the right information, guys. There's a whole lot of better YouTubers out there that can explain this stuff better than I can. But at the end of the day, nobody knows what's going to happen. And it's either you believe or you don't. And like I said, at the end of the day, You know, maybe, hey, maybe I'm having, what is it, where you're just in denial about stuff? Maybe I'm in denial, but at the end of the day, look, I've been in this cycle for a while. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And, just for the times that I've been in here, crypto's always come back. We've talked about this many times. I've always made sure everybody have level-headedness in this space. 2023 was the beginning of the bull run. Okay, there's no doubt about that. Okay, for the most part, Bitcoin has followed an uptrend, and since December of last year, we've been in a confirmed downtrend with all altcoins. There's been a few of them that actually have looked well, and the majority of them have not. Now we can come to the conclusions that the majority of these altcoins were victim of too many coins in the space, or the Trump token, World Liberty Fi, sucking out a lot of liquidity from the markets. Or maybe nobody just didn't want the coin. So, a lot of things that we could factor in this. Yeah, we've had some winners, and then obviously we've had some losses. But, look, there's still things happening, and we have to see this through. Okay, so, look, we can, like I said again in the beginning of the video, we can just do two things. We can keep going, or we can give up. And I don't give up on a lot of things in life. So, look, for some of you guys that don't know, like, I have a chronic disease, and, look, I could sit there and just complain about how my life is not going to be the best, or I could actually do what I got to do to stay alive as long as I can live. And that's just the truth about it, guys. Look, sometimes we're dealt some crappy cards in life, and look, we can do what we got to do as people to make it better. Or, we cannot. It's your choice is yours. So, I choose to continue to build and continue to work on myself. I try to go to the gym. I try to stay healthy. I try to make sure that I'm good. Occasionally I slip up and I screw up just like anybody else. But, I make sure my walk with God is getting better. It's not the best, but it's getting better. I try to make sure that I'm trying to develop as a person. Last year I had a lot of things going on towards the end of the year where I was screwing up. And then, I had to get a nice reality check. And, like I said, I had to get pulled back to reality. And the reality is that, content creation is very hard. You can get sucked into this, limelight of just... And by no means am I saying I'm a superstar or anything like that. I think I'm far from that. But, I just had to get humbled down with a lot of things. And I had to understand that, look, the only thing that's really important in life is my walk with God and my family. So, now that things seem to be stable, I'm trying to just kind of pay attention to the warning signs of life. And then also too with the charts, so enough rambling. I'll go on for 30 minutes just talking about life stories. I think we're all here to talk about crypto. So yeah, man, look, guys, I think things will be fine. Like I said, we just got to let this thing run its course. The one good thing is that, look, we're above 80K for now. Like I said, we do have some things that we'll cover right now. We'll go over some coins and stuff like that. I'll try to do my best to hit as many coins as I can through this. And then you guys can, like I said, always leave me some comments below and we'll touch it. Like I said, I really expect, a low turnout, man. It's just been really hard and I understand it. But at the end of the day, we're going to keep rolling. People leave or jump on, whatever. It's all good. But, people can come back and watch the video, and like I said, when all this is over, I'll still be here. And we're going to get through this stuff. All right, guys. Let's do some... Oh, Frank, what's up, man? Chris, what's up? Steven Ortiz, my dude, what's up? Frankie White, Chris Dean, what's up? Expiration, what's up, my OG? All right, guys, let's get into it. All right, so let's look at Bitcoin real quick. All right, guys, so in the Discord, guys, remember we were talking about this, okay? We were talking about the danger zones. Let's go and pop up in the Discord real quick. Let's hop in to the KGU real quick. Can't show too much up in here. All right, so look, check this out. We were talking about this last night, okay? We were at 88,000, okay? I was letting you guys know, look, man, there was a little bit of warning signs right here. And the warning signs were that this EMA cross that I was seeing, remember, when we start crossing below, with this pink line, it starts to signify, that we're losing support and we're losing momentum. And sure enough, guys, it came out and it ended up happening. Now, the part that was a little scary, guys, is that there's not really much information about what happened today. Okay, I was looking around every bit of Twitter, everywhere. I was not getting really any information at all, other than gold had a retracement about what 6%, which caused 2%, and it caused Bitcoin to go down almost 5%. So the whole theory that there's going to be a rotation from metals to crypto might be complete bullcrap. So that's something that we need to be very mindful of. And now we are in a position now where it's very kind of scary. Okay, we were back in December. Okay, and then we have our previous low down here at November. Okay, around almost 80K. Now, it's almost razor thin, guys. We start popping below this 83.5, then it's going to be time to board up the crack house and start expecting that 74K to 69,000. Now, we're following traditional 4-year cycles. Typically, the time to be buying cryptos would be later on in the year. Now, there will be times where we go up and down. We're going to have relief rallies and stuff like that, but they will always fizzle out. And, so look, I can't tell you with 100% certainty, guys, that, 74K would be the bottom. For me, I'm judging this back off of where we were in April of 2025. That was our liberation low. Okay, now, typically, bear cycles begin once that low point was broken. So we have not broken it yet. So typically, we're not in a confirmed bull market. We have bear market, but I think we are, okay? And like I said, I told you guys this back when we lost 102.5. I told you guys that, look, if once we lose this and we start closing below, it's game over. Okay, now look, bear markets can go anywhere between 2 months, 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, whatever. However long, Trump decides that this is going to go on for, that's how long it's going to last. And that's the reality of it. I know people don't like talking politics. I don't like it either. But let's just face the music, guys. This guy's running the show, man. I've watched a lot of stuff. I've watched pretty much a lot of information about the guy. And he is constantly gloating about how he can crash the financial housing markets if he wanted to. He could crash the dollar if he wanted to. He could crash this sector if he wanted to. Any sector. He has a lot of power. And, look, one thing that I can tell you guys is that I don't like that. I don't like the fact that, this is the one thing that I do not like about Trump. I don't like the constant, arrogance that he has, and look, I don't want to touch on this too much because I feel like politics is a real finicky subject right now, but I don't like it. It just kind of, goes to show you that, look, man, one wrong thing that happens, man, all this stuff can come crumbling down. So, look, it's a scary time. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, hey, look, I'm clicking my heels, buying the dip, and I'm not at all worrying about stuff. Yeah, I do, I have a family just like you guys too, but, at the end of the day, look, I do have some cash reserves, but I'm buying very gently, okay? I'm not going super ham sandwich yet. Okay, so look, let's keep this on the radar, my friends. Okay, we need to keep that 83.5 on the level, okay? Once we break that, okay, I do expect for Bitcoin to sweep down here to this prior low around maybe 78K to 80,000. From there, that's where we need to see if we're going to defend our prior low. If we break that, then that's where we come down, sweep liquidity down to 74K. If we don't hold, then we're in big trouble. Okay, now look, the good thing is that sometime in February, we're going to be expecting this clarity bill to start moving along quickly. Now that we got this government shutdown inverted, I am expecting some type of relief rally. Now, I've shared my opinions and theories with people that what I think is that what's going to happen is that we're going to get a nice relief rally. Okay, we can either come back to, the 100-day or the 50-day. Okay, and then people are going to get sucked in like, oh my God, the bull runs back, yada, yada, yada. And then boom, rug gets pulled out. Then that's when we start the mega drop. That's why I continue to tell people, please do not get completely out of crypto. I know it sucks. I know people don't like to, go through this type of volatility, but this is where, like I said, you can make some of your money back and start pre-mapping out what's going to happen towards the end of the year, or you can just sell out now, I guess. But for me, like I said, I have to play it out this way. This makes the most logical sense for me. So again, what have we talked about again? We talked about these EMA ribbons, and I keep telling you guys that, look, right now, what I'm doing is I'm patiently watching, the weekly and the 4 hour. I'm bouncing in between there, and we still have not gotten rid of this rising wedge. And it still shows that we're looking around this 54K, 40K region. In my opinion, I don't think we're going down there. I do think we'll probably retest, down here to this 200 week moving average down here on the weekly. So, which will put us at around 69K. So, look, 74, 69, that's where, I think we'll go. Okay. But, like I said, at the end of the day, we don't know. So, how do we plan accordingly? So once Bitcoin makes these moves, guys, then that's when you got to start setting up your buy orders. We've talked about this many times, where it wicks, it sticks. We continue to map out our buys. The best strategy is going to help you stay alive here is keeping your portfolios minimal. Watch the shit coins. Don't have too many memes. I actually advise that nobody has any meme coins in their portfolio. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just Jumpman, okay? I'm giving you guys advice on what I would do or what I'm doing, sorry. And you guys can take that how you want to take it. But, holding meme coins right now is very risky. Holding things outside of the top 100, super risky. Holding things between, the under the top 50, mega risky. And, anything between the top 30, you're still in danger. I don't want you guys thinking that, oh man, I'm in AVAX and this and that, I'm safe. No, you are still in danger. Look, I have a pretty big bag of AVAX, and look, I'm starting to get a little worrisome about, just some of the stuff that I'm hearing. They do have a great treasury backup, but there's just no adoption. Nobody cares about the token. Nobody cares about Litecoin. Nobody cares about Hedera. Nobody cares about Cardano. And that's the thing, guys. People are more gravitating towards Hyperliquid, and the coins that seem to have more retail adoption are like River and all these other coins that I've never heard of. So be careful, okay? I'm not trying to produce fear, but you should be not worried, but you should be just laced up, okay? There's a difference. Chris Dean says, we ain't gonna give up. Perseverance, determination, pressing on, victory, success in my blood. That's what's up, my brother. Luis says, Los Plebs. What's up, my dude? Yeah, man, look, guys, look, man, it is what it is. It's too late for all that. Sonic has dropped so much and keeps going down like crazy. Yeah, man. I mean, look, that's everything right now, brother. Not just Sonic, man. I think that, there's going to be a decision that, look, these altcoins can go down 20-30% more. So the way that you're going to do this right now, brother, is you're going to have to decide, like, hey, look, how much more of this can you really take? And I believe that, look, there's going to be a point to where these coins, like I said again in the beginning of the video, stuff's going to reverse. And you'll have your opportunity to, get out. But if you continue just to allow your bags to go down, and then you're not trying to, DCA or, kind of lighten up the load, it's going to be harder for you to break even. So it's really hard to determine where this bottom point's going to be, because we have such a wide gap. 83,000 right now, we're 84,000. And, we go down to 69,000. That's, a 10% drop. Let's measure real quick. That's almost 20% drop. About 15% drop. So we drop down 15%. That would basically put us back at our, at our bare bottom, hopefully. I think all coins will go down another 40%. So that's pretty drastic. So just be careful. So that's Bitcoin real quick. Let's cover Sonic real quick for you real quick, man. If you're still in here, we'll touch it real quick. Let's see. Yeah, this thing is not doing well, my friend. Let's see. All right, so it's sitting at 6 cents. What's up, Tequila? How you doing, brother? So yeah, man. I mean, 40% is crazy, man. But like I said, brother, this all really depends on Bitcoin, man. If Bitcoin does not hold up, if it doesn't stay above where it's at, man, trust me, dude. I mean, I think you guys need to understand that, altcoins can get crushed even more. So I know it's kind of freaky and stuff like that, man, but I'm just being honest, man. It's hard. It's hard to really, gauge all this right now because it's crypto, man. There's nobody really cares about it. I mean, I'm telling you right now, my views are down 60%. I mean, everybody's views are down a lot. So there's just no interest in crypto right now. And this is actually in lining with, prior cycles. When we go into a bear market, guys, nobody cares about anything. It doesn't matter if I have the best content or if I'm the best speaker or the motivated speaker that people are just like, man, this guy makes total sense. If nobody can get rich overnight, nobody cares. And, look, this is actually where you can actually build really good positions on. And, like I said, it's just going to be a waiting game that we're all going to have to play, whether we like it or not. And I think I saw you posted something that this is getting really tiring. And I agree, man. Trust me, I've been doing this since, 2019, 2018. And 2022, 2023 was very mentally, it was just mentally dragging, bro. And, we were battling 30K multiple times, got rejected, going back to 20K and then going back up to, 29K and then boom, getting rejected. And then Grayscale announces that there's going to be a Bitcoin ETF. Boom, it goes back up to 30K. And then boom, December of 2023, back down to, I think 28. It was just a roller coaster, man. And then the ETF comes out. Everybody's getting super hyped up. And then next thing you know, bam, right back to, mid 30s. And, it's just, man, I can tell you, brother, that it's an ugly feeling. But, it is what it is. We have to just hold through. So right now, look, man, Sonic is back at, it's actually, let's see. Yeah, it's below where it dropped on October the 10th, man. So, I'm kind of curious. Did you not see, like when I was saying, to get out of altcoins around 102.5? Like I said, man, it's okay because I had some things that, that I still hold. But, I mean, this thing is in price discovery. So it's already, it's down, what, 92%. So yeah, man, I get it, but remember BNB was down 90% as well too. So these coins can make a recovery, I get it, but you have to be patient, brother. This could turn out to be another 6 months. And, I just recommend, like, look, let's just give an example. If you're down, 60%, 70%, DCA a little bit, let's say you're down 1,000, 2,000, DCA, $100 every other week, and then just start chopping that average down. And then once you get the next, 20-30% pump, invest out, and then wait for a retrace, DCA back in, wait for the next 20-30% pump, and just do it like that until you can break even or hopefully turn a profit, brother. Let's see. All right, how low do you think BTC will go? Honestly, man, I think, I'm still shooting around that 70, 74K, 79K zone. Earlier I said, 69, 74, but I'm hoping somewhere between, that high 79K will hopefully show some balls there in that area, okay? Let's see. Let's hit some popular coins real quick. I want to cover XRP real quick because I know there's like 90% of you guys love XRP. And I've been trying to get a good position. Look at that, man. It's almost 79 cents, man. This is nuts. Okay. All right, so back over here, December 2025, guys. This is where we got critical support right here. So we start breaching down there. We got this gap down here at 126. So then this is where we got to pull up on the 4-hour, and we got to start coming all the way back down to where we were back in April over here last year. So we had 162. So, we should be putting some buy orders down here at 162. If we start falling back below there, guys, then yeah, this is where we were where Trump got elected back in November. So, this is going to be $1.27. This is where we have that liberation low, so we can pop a line right there. This is where we're going to have some support down here in this area. But like I said, guys, again, Bitcoin goes down, down to this 60, 70,000 zone. That's 30%. We can go down 50% easy, man. Easy, dude. And this will take us back down to where we were back in around October, which would be about $1. So I don't think, again, guys, I don't think we're going to go back down to 50 cents or anything like that. But I do think that, around this area between, 80 cents if stuff gets mega bad. But, for right now, like I said, strong positions should be, put in around 126 all the way in through 177. So we're pretty much there already. At 177 all the way down into that 126, 127 zone. You guys should be setting up some buy orders in there. Yeah, I feel you, bro. I mean, look, man, if you guys were, bullish, a lot of you guys, I've known you guys since last year. A lot of you guys were like, man, crypto this, crypto that. I mean, some of you guys are just excited. And, look, man, I'm not entirely excited about it, but hey, man, I have some cash and I'm buying and stuff like that. So we can't complain, man. At the end of the day, look, we wanted a good price. Here it is. But the thing is about all this, it's a psychological thing. We go down 10%, you get your asking price, but then everybody starts seeing these YouTubers that are like, we're going to go down to 50 cents, we're going down to $1, and then it starts messing with your brain. And then you start thinking like, man, what if we do go down there? What if Bitcoin does go to 17K? What if XRP does go down to 50 cents? And it somehow, fear will always find you. I always make this, example about, when Batman was making the jump on that last one from the trilogy series, whenever he's trying to make the jump out of the well, and the guy tells him like, how can you make the jump if you still have the rope tied to you? You're missing that one big factor of fear that keeps you on your edge, keeps you on your toes. So, I mean, in this situation, I use fear to my advantage. Keeps me like kind of in tune with what's going on. I stay looking at the charts 24/7. Sometimes my wife's all like, babe, are you ever going to go to sleep? I'm like, yeah, I'll sleep when I'm dead. But, right now I'm locked in. I have to make sure that I'm protecting my assets. I have to make sure that, things are locked in and good. Look, if this is a 6-month sacrifice for a potential, retirement in the future, I'm going to take that risk. So, for me, like I said, we don't have a choice. I mean, I'm too far in, man. It's either go big or go home. And, like I said, I'm in it too deep. So, like I told you guys yesterday, I advise you to please do that self-check, with yourself and really come to terms with what's at stake here. If you guys are going to be to the point where you're going to be living on the streets, I think you better cash in on some of that stuff, man, because it can get worse. Okay? So let's check out Chainlink real quick. Let's see. Chainlink, man, has been very aggravating for me. Okay, so we have a lot of nasty patterns up here. We got a bearish pennant. We got a falling wedge, but I'm not falling for that crap. Like I said, still have some targets here for $8.10 and then $10.37. We're pretty much almost there already. So again, guys, back in October of 2023, this was our low back over here, $7. So my thesis behind all this is that, look, if we're going into a bear market, we're going to return back to 2023 prices or wherever that liquidation mark was back in October. So right there on that liquidation wick pretty much lines us up almost exactly where we were back here in October of 2023 when we got that grayscale announcement. Okay, so that's pretty much where I'm thinking. Okay, and honestly, my friends, look, we're not too far from there. Look, I mean, look, that is 27% from where we are in crypto land. Sorry. In crypto land, that's nothing. Sorry, guys, if I missed y'all's ears up. That and 27% is nothing. So all that takes is Trump saying, "Oh, we're gonna go to war" or something, and that's off the rip. Okay, so just again, guys, be prepared. Instead of being worried or whatever, like I said, just be prepared. Have some orders set up there. If you're thinking about buying today, hey, instead of buying 1,000, break it up in increments, 250 today, and stagger them below. That keeps you safe. And then, like I said, hey, let's say you have $10,000 worth of chain link right now, and I'm kind of swaying your heart to kind of like de-risk a little bit. Hey, look, man, no judgment here. Sell half, I mean, hey, dude, at the end of the day, if I'm telling you that I think we can go down another 20%, I mean, take that with a, grain of salt. But at the same time, hey, look, it's a possibility. It doesn't look like things are clearing up anytime soon, guys. I mean, every time we check the news, there's just some other crap going on with, geopolitical. So, it's better to be safe than sorry. So stagger those buy orders, or hey, do 20%. Okay. And just set those buy orders below. Be prepared. A lot of these levels still have not changed, my friends. C-Dub, what's up, my dude? Jonathan says, lately all the videos are about the 4-year cycle repeating. Yeah, I mean, honestly, man, it's like that everywhere, dude. And that's where, like, honestly, we have to be honest with ourselves. Like, when are influencers ever right? And hey, I've even said this multiple times, guys. I fall in that category too. I am no different, okay? I mean, I know that I'm extremely handsome and good looking, and I know that, your boy Jumpman brings the fire all the time, even if we're dumping. I'm just kidding. But I'm wrong, and there's going to be times where, like, yeah, I'm going to get it right, but I mean, I'm just seeing everybody. I mean, oh my God, there's just so many YouTubers. I don't want to call anybody out, but it's just like, man, the thumbnails are like, one day we're bullish, one day we're bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish. I'm like, oh my Lord. Because nobody knows, man. Nobody knows anything. And it's just like, look, the only thing that I can really say is that you're either here or you're not. And it's like I said, man, Trump is gonna really push you through the ringer, dude. I mean, this guy is just, man, he's just an attention whore. So, if he feels like, he wants to start some drama, he's going to start some drama. I mean, the stock market's at all-time highs. Metals have hit all-time highs. Bitcoin hit all-time highs. I mean, so stuff has happened, It's just, yeah, that's the part that's worrying because, look, man, we do crash. Things can get ugly. D White, what's up, Jump? What's up, my dude? Let's see. Let's see. Jonathan said MSTR is not the only one buying heavy, but I understand MSTR can't stop buying. Honestly, John, like I think, bro, MSTR is the reason why Bitcoin has not gone to its true price where it's going to go back down to because of them. But at the same time, this could actually be the demise of Bitcoin as well. I don't know much about stocks, but I know that the MNAV, whatever, if Bitcoin were to start hitting below that 80K mark, it's going to put them in that negative ratio where their assets are worth more than the actual stock price. And that's the part that gets worrisome is that, yes, Saylor's always said, I'm never going to sell my Bitcoin. But, I'm not necessarily sure how that stuff works. But I know once it starts happening, he doesn't have control over that. The company they have to sell off, then they have to sell off. And can you imagine, the extra selling pressure? Now that's where, altcoins could go to zero. And some of them, even big names like Solana, like, we'll cover Solana right now. That's the next one up. And, things like Solana that are still up, 10x from where they were in the bear market. This is really scary, guys. So right now 117 on Solana, but let's get all this crap off real quick. Everything has rising wedges and falling wedges on it, but okay, back in Liberation Day, guys, $97. Okay, that's our true support. Okay, and then back over here where we were back in January, we're at $78 over there. Okay, now we start flipping bearish and stuff like that. And I'm talking about going to a full-fledged bear market. 55 to $78 is where I'm targeting for Solana, and that's only because it has not had a really true big drop. Whenever we had that liquidation cascade, it never got hit like all these other altcoins. AVAX and Chainlink and all these other ones, they got decimated. But the thing is, though, Solana doesn't have a lot of stuff, in the future for it right now. So right now, it's kind of like a lame duck. So, we have this area right here back where we were last year. Keep that on your radar. I wouldn't necessarily be buying right now, but start sending some orders, around that $90 zone. But once we breach and we go back down here, down to this blue line, which is at $78, that's where I'm going to be looking for a major bounce. That would be the place to be buying Solana at. And that's honestly where I think that would be the best value for most people that are just trying to take the safe route, would be to be putting their money there in Solana. Because at the end of the day, guys, look, let's be real. Solana has big dog in it all the way through, man. And it's still the only altcoin, besides XRP and a few others that actually have been looking strong. Okay, and then also too, I haven't even really been checking out BNB. We need to keep this on the radar as well. Look at BNB. It's at $858. Okay, it's down I think 30% back from its all-time high. Yeah, about 38%. But check this out. We still have all these levels back here in August of last year. All support levels that, once we go into a true bear market, look at all these touches right here. I don't even really need to zoom into the chart too well. I can kind of just see through lines bouncing off from right here that there's a lot of support down here at $550. So that's still another, 60% down, 40% down, I'm sorry. And, if your guys are trading, this would be another generational short, and even back here, 368. So, I do think that, maybe a lot of these 10 altcoins that we've talked about, they won't feel the full wrath of what, most of these other altcoins have done, but there's still much more leeway down for, coins like this. So, like I said, again, keep this on your radar. Some of you guys that are leverage trading, by the way, I do have the links in the description. Me, I don't push that kind of stuff on you guys, but, this is one to keep on the radar. BNB. And then let's hit Say token real quick. Say I entered a leverage position on Say. Right now I'm getting smacked up, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm gonna keep this one open. If it gets liquidated, that's fine. It's not too much cash, but look, we have a lot of room to go down here. 6 cents, and I think right now this puppy's in price discovery as well. Let's see. So yeah, we're in price discovery to the downside, and this was another coin that was being brought in by the Trump administration, and another altcoin that I think the state of Wyoming was using, down 73%, and then it's down let's see, 92%. So like I said, it's just been one of these things that has not been great for us. And, look, let's check this out real quick. I want to show you guys something. I was talking with one of my dudes in my Discord. This is when Trump took office right here, guys. Okay. Since Trump has taken office, this is not just, this altcoin. We can even pull up another altcoin real quick. Let's pull up AVAX. Let's pull up the chart back to where we were back in December. Okay, same chart. Look, it's already right there for you guys. Downturn. Let's pull up another coin. Let's see. All right. Same thing with Solana. Boom. Every single altcoin, guys, has been in a downturn since he's taken office. So, I mean, we can even argue that there's been a bear market in altcoins for about a year. So, I mean, it's very hard to tell, man. You know, I mean, this could have been the start of the bear market right here. And then this right here could have been the relief rally that we got, you know, and then boom, the continuation to the bear market, where maybe we should see some type of reversal sometime around, you know, September, October. And then, you know, maybe we see some type of price action, you know, come back around up. But then that's when you have your, you know, the resistance back here. And very seldomly do altcoins ever go back to their all-time highs. So, you know, if you look at the chart with XEN, you know, XEN is a perfect example where most people held for about 18 months. And, you know, it took them almost 2 years to make a profit. And then that's when I joined the KGU. I seen so many people that were making like 30Xs, 20Xs, and then, you know, they thought that it was going to keep going up more and more and more and more, and then they ended up giving it all back. But, you know, look, I mean, that's just how it goes, man. Patience is rewarded to the ones that are willing to wait. Okay, so let's hit this real quick with so already in price discovery, very hard to navigate this as far as like, you know, where it could go. The only thing that it's going to be helpful for us, guys, is to continue to use the EMAs. Okay, what we want to do is we want to start seeing these EMAs begin to level out. So you want to see your 50-day start to kind of level out, and then you want to see your 200-day begin to push out like that, and you want to see price moving away from the 200, crossing up like that. And that would be your best opportunity to start loading up on alts. But, you know, like I said, right now, not happening. So I just, you know, I'm buying a little bit, $100 here, $100 there, but nothing crazy. I've been showing you guys like on some of the buy alerts that I've been doing. It's just $100. And, you know, like I said, I've told some of you guys, y'all know my bag size, you know, don't want to be putting too much information out here, but, you know, $100 is very small. And that's very small, you know, and I'm not trying to, like, you know, put myself too much at risk. And even at now, guys, look at, we're dumping right now as we speak. And, you know, it's just, this is just how it's going to be, man. Let's see. Let's check out Cardano real quick. And you guys can shoot me some coins. Evan says, can we short BNB? I would not give out any signals here on YouTube, man. We could talk about it in the Discord. It's too dangerous. You know, I don't want people to take entries like, you know, just on YouTube right now. We could talk about it in the Discord. Be safer. That way we can coach through it. Because, you know, like I said, man, there might be somebody that watching outside from KGU and plebs, and, you know, something happens to somebody. We don't want to be responsible for somebody like that, even though, you know, everything should be done on everybody's own dime. But all right, so Cardano, look, check this out, guys. 27 cents is that wick bottom. You know, Cardano's been beat to crap, dude. This is insane, man. I mean, some of these altcoins are literally behaving like as if they have been targeted with, you know, just like with, you know, how they were being debanked back, you know, in 2022. This is insane, man. Look at this. Back in 2022, man, Cardano was at 23 cents. And this is from them having scrutiny from the SEC. This is like, it's crazy, man. Look at that. We're literally freaking 25% from being where we were back in freaking 2022, dude. That is insane, man. I saw a podcast with Charles Hoskins, the founder of ADA, says that they have something really huge in February. So, not financial advice. I'd maybe be considering keeping that on your radar. For right now, like I said, we need to keep this on our radar. 27.36 between these areas. We're going to be looking for a bounce. Crow is not doing that bad. The minimalistic, thank you for coming on. Always a huge help with your outlooks. Hey, man, if I got nothing going on, man, I'm always happy to come on here. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've not been wanting to do it lately, man. It's been kind of I don't know. It's been kind of like a mental thing for me, guys. Like one video I did, I only got like 100 views. I'm like, dude, screw this. I don't know. For me, it was just a mental thing where I feel like, the community is not really responding well to this. It feels like a waste of time, but sometimes we get locked into those kind of bad mindsets, and one thing that I kind of battle with is consistency. So I told myself, hey, look, man, if people come on here, they come on here. If they don't, they don't. And like I said, we have a pretty good turnout, so I'm grateful for that. And I'm very appreciative to the people here that, continue to watch me and allow me to speak to them. So I appreciate you too, man. Thank you very much for your support and you always coming out and showing love to me. So again, guys, Cardano, not looking too good. So yeah, keep that on your radar. We had like a little flush right now, 31.81, but like I said, that target zone for me is still within that 27 cents, okay? Miles says, definitely got to be a bear market if this doesn't change by next month end, in my opinion, seeing this. Yeah, man. I mean, I think we're already in it. But the thing is, though, bro, if we are in a bear market and, by the time it confirms, it's already too late. That's why it's good to make adjustments now and prepare for, whatever weather we get. All right, let's check out Avalanche. Avalanche is at 10.85. All right, so same thing with Avalanche, man. Looking real poopy doopy. That wick low, 8.46. Go back to the 4 hour. The 4 hour is going to be the best tool that we can use for right now, guys. We're going to go back up. Again, we're going to be looking at that October of last year, and then we're going to be going back to October of 2023. Those are the only two dates that I want you guys to focus on, is because, look, this is where all the support's going to be at. Okay, so look, we can literally kind of just, boom, pop that line right there. It almost exactly lines perfectly up right there. So that's where I believe that we'll come back down to. And that's hopefully where a lot of these altcoins will finally see their last little bit of a flush down to, and hopefully that'll be the end of it. That's about 20% for AVAX. So, we could continue to, you can continue to buy, but it's just going to bleed down. So the best thing to do, guys, is, like I said, stagger the buys down and then maybe set some entries back down here at that level for a long, and hopefully we can get a bounce there. Dwight says, it's really hard with so much manipulation and liquidation. Yes, it is. That's why it's so important that we get this clarity bill, guys. This clarity bill stops all this manipulation. So they're going to be pretty much the same rules are going to apply to crypto that they do with stocks. There's going to be a cool down period where you sell off on an asset. I think you have to wait, 3 days? And then, but until then, guys, like I said, we're just at the mercy of all these big players like Citadel Finance, Wintermute, all these different people that are just, very much controlling the markets. And then, again, guys, geopolitics are very much in play here. I don't want to get political, guys, but it just seems like the Democrats don't want to work with Trump. And look, man, I'm like one of the most clear-cut dudes that there ever could be. I like to stay in the middle. Sometimes I get in trouble both sides with this kind of stuff. But, I mean, it's like, dude, Trump's made this really hard for lawmakers. I mean, if he would have waited to launch World Liberty Fi after there's been clarity, things would have been a lot better. you know, if he would have waited to launch this stupid effing Trump token, man, a lot of altcoins would have been so much better off, you know. And it was just bad decisions and poor execution with a lot of stuff that really has just, you know, painted a nasty taste in a lot of people's mouths, guys. I think for us degens that are still watching crypto channels and stuff like that, I'm sure, you know, Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners were real funny this last year, you know, and it's because you try to talk to people about this stuff, and it's just a scam. It's a scam. It's a scam. It's a scam. And, you know, I mean, how can you combat that at this point? Because it's like, look, man, it kind of does feel like a grift. But, you know, there's still a lot of great projects out there, guys, that are doing a lot of great things. And, you know, until we can get it leveled out, this is just the way it's going to be. BTC is at 82,000 right now. Oh, my God. I mean, are we surprised? Let's see. Wowzers. See how fast that happens, guys? We're literally at 84K, man. Wow. This must have literally just happened like right now, because damn, that was like super fast. And you see how, like, honestly, man, these are all the Asians right now, man. Global Alien said, sounds like my dad, but I just let him be. No arguing, wasting time. Yeah, I mean, you know how it is, brother. Sometimes arguing with the OGs, man. Honestly, I think this was just a liquidity flush, man. Damn, bro, this is nuts, man. Literally freaking, what, almost 4% since we started the stream. Bitcoin's down from there. Because when we started, we were at, 3%. Almost 4%, man. That's insane, dude. In 30 minutes. It's cray, man. Tequila, you said Aptos, man. Honestly, brother, I wouldn't even know, man. It's in price discovery to the downside. There's nothing that I could even track it with. I mean, this would probably be one that would probably likely, I don't know, man. I don't want to say zero, but it's hard to tell, man. And honestly, look, to be honest, man, Bitcoin went down, what, 4%? And look at me, most of these altcoins only went down 3%. I mean, they're so exhausted already, dude. This is insane, bro. Yeah, look at that, man. It came down 5%. I mean, the selling pressure is just, it's getting exhausted, man. I mean, if you're looking on the RSI, man, look at that, dude. We're literally at freaking 20, dude. It's crazy, man. Alrighty. Well, I might have to hop off, guys, and start maybe hopping in some trades. Look, man, we just got to be careful, man. If you guys are tapped into the Discord, I'll throw some plays out here, man. And, you know, hopefully we'll see what's up, man. Just keep your guys' head straight on, man. Look, I know it sucks, but we'll be okay. Real quick, Miles says, yeah, I feel you, man. Global. I want to tell my mom about crypto, but I feel the same. It's a waste of time. Yeah, man, I would probably keep parents away from that stuff, man. Just as long as you're of age, man, just, you know, probably best you keep them away from this stuff, man, because they'll end up losing their money or something, bro. All right, my friends, we'll talk later. Thank you guys again. Make sure to show some love in the comment sections.